Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the Wake Up podcast with your
Woo!
hosts, me, Aisha.
And me, Lucy.
And today is going to be a very juicy episode, I think.
Yes, it is indeed.
We are going to be talking about influencers and YouTube drama and
cancel culture and all that stuff.
Yes.
I don't know how long this episode's going to be. It could be juicy.
It's going to be juicy. That's for sure.
Given.
Yes. But yeah, before we get into all of that, how have you been? It's been a while since we last posted, filmed, and the world is actually crazy. I feel like something new is happening every day, like the vaccines coming out. And
yes, so happy. Someone I went to uni with, she works in a GP at the minute, and she's been booking the 80s and over for their vaccines at work. So that's really cool. I'm so glad that we finally have something. I know that this vaccine is like, there's like issues with like how it's kept and stuff, so it's harder to get it rolled out as quickly. That's why they're wondering if the Oxford one is going to be faster when that comes out. But for now, I think it's such a great step in the right direction. And this is what the breakthrough I think everyone's been wanting. I don't think it's going to be as fast as everyone thinks it's going to be, but this is the start of the end, I think, hopefully.
Hopefully,
yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting as well. That the first person in the UK to get the vaccine was from Coventry.
I know.
Dang, represent.
I know, she's Irish. What's she, like 80 or something as well? Can't remember her name, but mad. That's good for her, man.
Honestly, hopefully, yeah, like you said, this is the beginning of the end. I've seen some people are against it because they're saying it's rolled out too quickly and you don't know what's in it, but I'm like, come on, we're in a pandemic,
people think
right?
It's going to change DNA. I'm like, really? Do you even know how a vaccine works? Like, honestly, you get taught what a vaccine is when you're like, I don't know, in like year 9 or whatever it is. It's like, come on, it's not that difficult. It's just like dead bits of the virus.
Yeah.
Basically, and they put it in you so that you can get the antigens or whatever. I think it's antigens, which go on the antibodies. Something like that. I did do biology at A-level, but I can't remember that shit.
Girl, you know more than me. I'm going to let you talk all that time.
I can't tell right now. I'm doing hard go shit. So, yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask, how have you been otherwise? Because we haven't really spoke to each other much anyway, because we've both been busy with work. But
I came down ill, didn't I?
Yes.
Recently. It was so weird. Like, I don't believe it was COVID. I had no symptoms, so I couldn't get a test anyway. But like, I really just didn't feel myself. I don't even know how to describe it. I just knew that something wasn't right with me. I did have other symptoms as well. It wasn't just I thought there was something wrong with me, but like I just didn't feel like me, and like I'd get really hungry. Like I'd want to eat like a platter worth of food, and then I'd make something big, and then I'd only be able to eat a little bit, and I feel sick. And I'm like, oh. So when I started being able to eat and not feel sick after, I was so happy because I obviously love food. So wasting all the food was like a nightmare. But I've been all right. Work is about to pick up because of Christmas hours. I've got all of them basically, so that's good. But other than that, yeah, I'll be good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you're feeling better. It's just that time of the year, isn't it, when everyone's starting to get sick?
Yeah, it's just all them germs coming out.
It's so frustrating, especially like at work as well, because things are crazy in school. Like we've had a lot of kids sent home, and I had a bit of a panic this week because I thought I might have been a close contact. So I was like, crap, what do I do? But I wasn't. It was fine.
Yeah, I know, because my dad works within schools, and you have to work out, have you been, because it's like there's certain rules where it's like, well, have you been in close contact for 15 minutes, and it's so many minutes, and you have to work out how close or far away you were from that person. So I know it's like really hard to work out, so it's definitely very stressful. 100% understand that.
Yeah,
it's still here.
We're here, we're alive.
We're alive.
Coming back to you with another episode.
Let's go, baby.
Let's get it.
Okay. So This episode might be a little bit all over the place. I'm going to try and divide it up as best as I can. There's a couple of different dramas I've picked. There's one that's really recent when we're filming, which involves the Frenemies episodes, which is H3 Productions. So it's got Ethan in it and it's got Trisha Paytas in it. And something just kicked off last episode. And I think it brings up a lot of different points that we can discuss about general dramas that happen on YouTube and influencers. And I thought, like, Trisha Paytas is like the queen of getting herself into dramas and scandals. So I thought, why not start here? So let me just give you a bit of a download about what this episode is, what they do on these episodes. So basically, it is called Frenemies, and Ethan and Trisha have this like love-hate relationship, where they poke each other, they tease each other, they laugh together, they do things together, and it's actually made for really interesting content. I'm not one that really watches anything by Trisha Paytas because personally, I believe that she's crossed a few too many lines, in my opinion. So I just don't watch her. I don't go out my way to hate on her. I just don't watch her. But these episodes are so interesting. Now, I'm going to play where the drama started on this episode. I'm going to play some clips. I thought that would be a nice, interesting thing for you lot this episode. And Aisha has no idea about any of this. So I won't give away what happens, but I'll give you some background information first. So first of all, you need to know is that on the H3 podcast, the original podcast, Ethan brings on Trisha to do a bachelorette. Now, during this time, Trisha actually started dating Hila's brother. Now, Hila is the wife of Ethan, and they do the podcast together. Right. So Trisha starts dating this guy called Moses, who is actually family. And they're still dating and it's still going on. And so it's starting to cause some conflicts in the family, not because he's dating Trisha, but because, as you'll see in this drama, there's some secrecy and denial and lies and things that are going on. It just doesn't add up. So I think that's enough context for now. So let me just get all technological right now.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, so this is where it all starts, okay? So let's just watch and see what you think. So they're meant to be doing beauty products. That's the episode. So I don't know if I'm quite on the right bit, but let's go.
Staring at.
Can we have Hila as a guest on our podcast?
No.
Why? Because people think like I hate her or she doesn't like me or something. Like I feel like we need to have like, because like, you know what I mean? Like I like Hila so much.
She could sit in. Yeah, she could probably sit in.
You just said no. Now you're like,
just a snap judgment. She's busy. Don't talk about Hila. We're cutting this part out. She doesn't want to be talked about.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm serious. We have to cut this.
That's fucking crazy. Like, what's even the point? She doesn't want to be talked about.
Because she doesn't like that you're always bringing her up and saying how she doesn't like you and all this shit, because it's not true, and she finds it annoying because she doesn't want people to start thinking that like she doesn't actually like you.
Well, she doesn't.
Well,
she doesn't.
Well, whatever. Just cut it out, Dan.
Okay, so what's your first thought on this? So this is how it starts, right? So Trisha wants to bring Hila on that podcast so that they can basically be like, I don't hate you, you don't hate me. They clear the beef, which there supposedly is, but again, that is a controversial thing. That there's beef when, obviously, I'll show you in later clips and things we discuss. So Trisha wants to clear the air, right? Now, Ethan is kind of, at first, when I watched the podcast myself, I was kind of shocked how, like, quite to the point he was like, no, we can't talk about this. It's not like his usual behavior. So I was quite shocked. But this is how it starts, okay?
It already feels very, very tense. Like, I'm uncomfortable. I mean, I don't usually watch this podcast, but I just know that something's not right, but yeah.
Yeah. And this is where Trish starts to get quite defensive. And let's kind of skip a bit and see where we get to. because there's loads. They talk for ages about this.
Summer, or when we started dating, you never. But you guys talked about me.
I don't
you
even know
asked
what you're
about
on
me.
about.
Just all this
She
shit.
just
And now
doesn't
she's
want
too
you.
good. She's
She's
too
not
good.
too good.
Don't fucking mention my name. Meanwhile, you guys can talk about whoever you want. You guys talked about me all spring without
You can talk about whatever you want too. She just doesn't like that you always come on and make
She
the
has
same
a fucking
comment.
podcast. She's not a fucking private figure. She has a
No,
podcast
but
on this fucking
you guys
channel.
are family. It's different.
No, fuck
You're-
off.
you're-
Fuck her. I'm
you're
honestly
with
done.
her
Like, I'm not
brother.
I won't come back here. Like, if you want me, I know you guys own that fucking building too, but like, I'm not gonna come back in this house because I'm so over it.
So I've only skipped about, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe not even 10 minutes. So I'll keep kind of explaining, because obviously if you want to watch the episode yourself, go ahead and watch it. It is really interesting to watch as it unfolds. So Trisha's getting annoyed because she's saying that this podcast is like, they can talk about anything. And on the H3 podcast, they talked about her and Moses's relationship when, they didn't have any say in it. They spoke about what they wanted, apparently. And she's saying, like, look, Hila is a figure online. She's an internet figure. I can say what I want to say. You spoke about me and Moses, so why can't I speak about her? Okay. Which I get to some extent. However, when someone wants a break from something, surely, especially now you're dating within the family, you're not really doing yourself any favours.
No. It's like... Sorry, just to jump in.
But no, you go.
I'm not sure how I feel about it because, I kind of see Trisha's point, because if they can talk about whoever they want and like comment on whatever they want, because their podcast is like a commentary sort of thing, isn't it? Yeah. So they make a living out of that. So if Trisha has the right to do the same, but if you're dating in the family, you're getting to know these people and you're starting beef, it's not really the best.
No.
Yeah.
So I get both sides of the argument to some extent. It's like, it depends how you're talking about people. And I think that's what he's trying to say. He's like, there is more to it, which hopefully I'll get into at some point. But let's go a little bit further, see how far we get here. By the way, Moses always sits in on these podcasts at the back. He's not involved, but he's always there. But he's gone to collect pizza. So for the podcast, so it's all it's all unraveling.
Don't you? You can't be with his grandparents.
They're not here.
Right. So let me go back a bit. And it's gonna
trying to attack our parental abilities.
Let's just move on.
It's fine.
Okay. So what did he say?
So,
So what did she say?
We're not even talking about.
Oh, okay. So basically, they also talk about in the episode how she's read Moses' text messages, knows that Hila doesn't like her, and he's like, "Well, why are you reading his personal messages?"
Yeah.
The whole point, the drama there's like drama being formed in the family between Hila and her brother, and it actually has nothing to do with Trisha, but Trisha's making it about herself. So yeah.
It's not. It's look exactly. This is what she doesn't want.
Being brought up, I'm not gonna fucking.
She's
whatever.
not talking about you. She's having a conversation with her brother.
All right, cool. And then we'll just move on.
Yeah, I think we should move on. We have pizza on the way. You're just gonna forsake all the pizza.
I don't want to like come back here for real, to the house, because I don't feel comfortable. It's her house. Like, I don't want to be in here.
You don't want to.
For me personally, that kind of behavior I can't stand.
No. Yeah.
It's so very childish to me.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, the faces were I'm not coming back. It's a bit like you have a working business relationship.
Yeah.
I know the whole point of the series, Frenemies series, is that they're love-hate relationship and they cause drama within one another, on the episodes. But it kind of comes to a point where it's a bit like, it's a bit cringy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
we can finish this episode, but I'm just telling you.
Are you still excited for the pizza or
Right,
no?
yeah, I can't wait.
That's sarcastic. I'm still excited for the pizza.
Just wait for one comment, wait.
Can we move past this?
When I have a kid, I'm not going to have nannies, that's for damn sure.
So she says, I don't know if you heard what she said, but she says, when I have a baby, I won't be having a nanny, that's for damn sure. So basically, Ela and Ethan have a child.
Mm.
Now they both work. She owns a company called Teddy Fresh, which is a big clothing company now. And obviously he has the podcast and other bits and bobs. So obviously they have a nanny, which like here would be like taking your kids to daycare or to nursery, or, you know, we do have nannies here as well. Babysitters is what we basically call them. So this I will talk about in more detail. I want to get you through the drama, then we'll analyse why she's doing this, you know, and stuff like that. So he's looking very confused. What does that mean?
You're not going to have a babysitter when you have a kid? How are you going to do anything? What does that mean? You're trying.
Quality writing makes your schoolwork better and helps you stand out in the process.
Okay.
You're trying to attack our parental abilities?
Let's just move on.
So she said this comment, which is quite a statement. There's a reason why she said this. And then he's like, well, okay, what do you mean by that? Very calm, to be fair, the way he's gone about it. But she's like, let's just move on. It doesn't mean anything. And then, you know, he goes on to say, have you ever tried to deal with a 1.5-year-old and do work? It's impossible. And then she kind of goes on about how if she was a mum, she'd find any way to spend all her time with a child.
Tell me that if I'm lucky enough to have kids, because I can't fucking have kids, and I'll be with them all the fucking time and make sure I can spend as much as I can with them. And then
Don't you think it's healthy to be away from them sometimes?
Yeah, but they should be with another family member.
So they should never be with anyone that's not in their family.
I don't believe in that at all.
Seems extreme. Seems like not everybody has that luxury.
So that's that kind of drama. And then let's get to the very end where it really does pop off, okay? So Moses comes back with the pizza.
Yeah.
And
Oil, you want to do the oil?
Sure.
The pizza's here, everybody. Woo! The pizza's here. We had a full meltdown while you were gone.
Expect another text from your sister.
Oh my God.
I'm not coming back to the house. I'm not.
No.
so he's like,
Moses said, what happened? You know, this is the literal meme where you walk in with the pizza and the room's on fire. This is the literal meme where you come back with the pizza. Oh my God.
I just left to get pizza.
This is literally... She's really upset because she was saying how Ela doesn't like her.
Ela says, don't talk about me on the podcast. All I said was you should have the guest. He's like, we can't mention Ela. She doesn't want me to talk about, she's too good for a fucking podcast. Even though we were talked about, they never once consulted me at the beginning of the spring. She has a fucking podcast. I brought life to the fucking H3 channel, but Ela's too fucking good to even mention her name. I said nothing bad. I said like, we should have her as a guest or whatever like that. Don't even mention Ela. She doesn't want to be talked about. Fucking
Okay.
I literally don't care. Literally, I don't want to come back because I really fucking hate her.
So she always making comments about the family and how...
I wasn't. That wasn't it. I said, Ela should be a guest on the podcast. And you're like, don't fucking mention Ela. She's the one I'm talking about. A fucking queen. You guys can talk about my shit all the time, but her, don't fucking mention her name. Dumb fucking bitch.
Okay.
I think we should just end it, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too.
She's such a fucking bitch.
She's not.
And you are too, and you're a fucking cuck.
You
have no fucking backbone.
All right, you should leave. We'll talk later. Yeah, you should get out.
I am going, but we're not talking later. Fucking bitch, you too.
So yeah, she walks out. He explains to Moses before he goes to her what happened. So he knows how to approach the situation when he goes home with her. So that's the drama. How escalated did that get?
Literally 0 to 100. Like, what?
Real fast.
Real
So
fast.
Also a little bit of like more details about it, as well as through the last couple of like episodes, she does mention like Ela doesn't like me, which annoys her because she's said that she actually does like Trisha. You know, Trisha has said I don't get treated well. You know, I get dismissed and the welcoming is not very nice by Ela. She's also said things like, well, you lot don't even talk to Moses. You're not even close with him. You don't even know Moses. So she says all these things on the podcast, which then Ela's like, well, you know, she says these things all the time. So Ela's like, there must be some truth to it. Like Moses is telling her this stuff. So the drama actually is between Ela and her brother, Moses. Yeah. However, somehow Trish gets involved and makes things worse for them. That's why Ela said, just let's not talk about us on the podcast. So, because she's like, I love the podcast, just not when it's driving more of a divide between me and my brother. She's also said when Trish has said when her and Moses get married, Moses's mum will not be invited.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that that has been causing a divide. Apparently in other clips I'll show later, Ela said, I've messaged him and said, like, why is she saying these things? There's got to be some truth to it. It's not all just a joke. You're obviously telling her these things, because he goes, oh, it's a joke. But, is it? There's got to be some truth behind why she's saying this stuff. So the whole point is Ela wanted a break, and Ethan's trying to navigate. He's very, he seems very on the fence about it all. Like, not that he doesn't believe his wife, he doesn't believe this. He's more like, this is an issue between my wife and her brother. I'm not getting involved, but I'm here to be supportive. He still talks to Moses when they're at the podcast. He still obviously talks to his wife. So obviously he's trying not to cause more of a divide. And Trisha's got upset because she's not being heard, I think. I think it's all spiraled out of control from Trisha getting this idea in her head that Ela doesn't like her, when really the drama's got nothing to do with her. She might have put the fuel on the fire.
Yes, she definitely has.
But it's not actually about her, the drama. So
that's just kind of made me think, right? Like, because it's not actually about her, but she's kind of bringing herself into it. That's a very influencer behavior to have, to kind of think the world revolves around you and make it about you. Because then even I can't tell if she's like putting it on. She's probably not. She's probably genuinely upset. But like, because of this now, she's getting more traction as well, more drama, more people are clicking on it. So I don't know if it's become like an ingrained behavior for like influencers in general, to like when they see drama to attract it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Now, Trish is no, I can't think of the word. She's like no stranger to drama. We've had the kitchen floor. Her kitchen floor is iconic on YouTube for where she cries and talks about her life and all this stuff. Dramas such as years ago saying I want to come out as a chicken nugget, but then years later coming out and saying that she's trans, and then issues with that, and then coming out and saying she's got dissociative personalities, all these things, and it's caused harm to different communities and things like that, and she's got a lot of hate for it. However, in a episode, this is where it might change your perspective, so I'm interested to see what you think. Is basically they brought on this doctor called Dr. Drew or something like that, and he's a big doctor like figure in America, and he comes on the podcast via Zoom, and they talk about, because she walked off before, and they talk about why she walked off, what Ethan's doing wrong, what Trish might be doing wrong, and you find out that she has been in therapy for a long time, and she has got BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. Now, what is it? I don't know loads about it. I know a bit about it. So basically, it is a personality disorder that has like emotional instability, disturbed patterns of thinking or perception, impulsive behavior, intense but unstable relationships with others. So this seems to be one of the reasons things get out of control.
Yeah.
So they talked in the episode about her triggers and how to deal with it. And I think, in my personal opinion, Ethan actually handled it really well. In that episode, he didn't get mad, because before they've argued and he'll push more buttons. But after that episode, it does seem like he understands what's going on with her. And he even says at the end of that podcast that, he doesn't know how to help her when she gets in these spaces. And another word that was used during the episode with the doctor is disassociation. Now, people disassociate because of trauma when they're getting triggered, and Trish explained it as like blacking out, and she will do things and she will lash out in order to protect herself. It's like if you've ever had something really traumatic happen to you or something scary or whatever, sometimes you might forget things, or you move that memory out of your brain because your body's trying to protect you from the outside world. Is my non-educational explanation of that. So we've got all these kind of ideas floating around: disassociation, personality disorder. Now looking back at it, we can kind of see how it plays out.
Yeah.
So where she disassociates, in my opinion, massively, is when she talks about the kid. And she says, well, I wouldn't. It's the bite back, I'm protecting myself now. I'm pushing away from the situation. Let's make it about hurting you.
Yeah.
You've hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. Which I thought was interesting. But yeah, so I find this very tricky now. You know, when it comes to mental health, I'm a very big advocate for mental health, but knowing what I've told you, how do you feel about the situation?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense now that you've said that she has BPD and stuff. I can notice some of those traits in how she just acted in that episode. And yeah, like you said, when she said, I wouldn't do that with my kid, that seems very out of the blue to me. Like, very, very weird that she'd bring that up. So yeah, that is kind of her like putting the barrier up and then now pushing back and acting out. So yeah,
It's sticky, isn't it?
It is, because a part of me is always like influencers, especially with like dramas like this and the likes of Trisha Paytas. I don't have much sympathy for them, but then, yeah, when it comes to her mental health and obviously the consequences of being an influencer and getting into these dramas is going to have an effect on you. So I do have like a bit more sympathy, but at the same time, she's not helped herself at all.
I do think, you know, I think there does come to a point where, and I don't want this to sound problematic, but, you know, from my own experience from mental health issues that I've had to deal with, it comes to a point where you can't blame it on your mental health issue anymore.
Yeah.
Where you have to take responsibility for your actions. So, you know, say for example, she's had this moment, she's blown up, but, you know, it shouldn't be her role to educate others around her. However, if she knows that she can get quite aggressive and it breaks down her relationships, and this is a work relationship, then I personally feel she needs to have a discussion with Ethan about when this happens, what is he meant to do? What is the team around? Because they have people working there as well. There's Dan and there's, what's his name? I can't remember. AB. So, you know, how are they meant to react? Are they meant to cut the show? What are they meant to do here? You know, are there trigger words that he's not meant to be using? Are there this? Is there that? You know, it comes to a point where you've got to take some responsibility. If you know this is how strongly you're going to react and break down your relationships, you know, then there's got to be some sort of communication that you've got to have there. And apparently she's in therapy and she has been for years. I can't remember what the point I was going to go with that. I was just basically, you know, there's got to be some accountability, I think, as well, that she needs to take. You know, it just seems like she doesn't ever learn. Because, okay, so I'll go on to in a minute. You know, she's made some videos reacting, and in their After Dark series podcast, the H3 production, they talk about, they text her, they thought they were cool, and then she puts out these videos and it's not cool. So it's just like, where is she learning? And then it makes me think that parts of it are an act, that it is for views, it is for money. And Trisha is just renowned for these situations. And I do think, you know, this is how she earns a living.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It's kind of like Because from my personal perspective, if I was a massive influencer with a following like Trisha, but like I still had my personality and my own values and beliefs, I would think if I had that audience, I would want to be a good influence for them, an advocate for like, you know, promote self-growth and stuff. So like you said earlier, you have to take accountability. I saw a tweet a few days ago, and it was like, mental health can explain your actions, but it can't excuse them. And if you know, if you know, like you've had like certain mental health like issues and it affects how you act, over time you have to like kind of learn how to deal with them and like educate people on them about you as well. Like, do you know what I mean? So the fact that she hasn't done that, I agree with you. It might be an act. You just don't know.
Yeah, it just seems like she always gets herself into these issues over and over again, and it's just like, one thing that someone said to me once, if there's a pattern, then maybe you need to look at yourself and your behavior, because if this is happening with everyone around you, it's happening for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's really hard to deal with. And there's a video that Trish uploaded to her YouTube about someone reacting to the drama on TikTok who has personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. That's really interesting. I would be really interested to see a wide range of reactions from people who have BPD reacting to how she's reacted here. That would be really interesting, I think. A perspective that neither of us can give. So, you know, there's only so much of a comment I can make on her reacting through her mental health issues. But again, I just think it does come to a point where you've got to take a bit of responsibility. But you know what though? Who do you think the real villain, I say that in quotation marks, is here? Because I know who I think the real villain is. Out of all the characters I've named, not that you've necessarily seen, who do you think's to blame?
I'm kind of thinking like, although I don't really think anyone is anyone's fault, but I'm kind of swaying towards like Moses, because like he's the middleman in everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, and which they say on their podcast, is that there's a conversation going on between Moses and Trish, but then there's another conversation that Moses is having with his family and Ethan, and they're two completely different stories. I think he needs to actually grow up a bit and be like, right, these issues are happening because of the conversations I'm having. I need to sit each person down, tell him the same thing, and then we can all be on the same page. But it doesn't seem like he does that.
No.
Oh, it really irritates me. And a lot of the comments, I don't know if it's in this episode specifically, but a lot of people have said in different episodes that Moses should be so someone's put like, Moses is probably confiding in Trish about things that he can't say to his family. Trish is probably telling the truth but saying it in an abusive, vindictive way. Moses needs to be honest with them if he feels mistreated or upset. Someone else put, how about we bring Moses into this? He's an adult who needs to speak up.
Period.
If out of anyone that needs to talk to Dr. Drew, it's Moses. So I thought it was really interesting. I do think that he is actually, I'm not saying he's causing issues on purpose, but I do think that he needs to do something because this kind of thing can't continue. I think, you know, for her own mental health, her look on the internet, and also for shows like this to actually run properly. I mean, it wasn't even a proper episode. It was just shouting and aggression and stress.
Yeah, I just think it's not good for anyone. Like, they might think, I don't know, there might be someone in the team who thinks, oh, we've got lots of views on this episode because of the drama and stuff. But long term, you can't just keep putting out episodes of drama as well, because people will eventually get bored of it. Obviously, it's going to take a toll on your mental health, or if you're putting it on, it's going to get boring. So no matter what the situation is, like, this kind of drama cannot continue, like you said. So, yeah.
So it's very interesting, the whole mental health discussion around this, you know, like, you know, the whole idea that mental health is like an act and it's fake, which is a really bad stigmatization. But then also, sometimes I watch Trish, and the thing that she it's like she repeatedly makes the same mistake. And I don't know if this is because of her mental health or because she doesn't care, or, you know, I don't know whether it's something to do with her upbringing. I don't know if there's just something that's not clicking for her that clicks for other people. But that's why I think it looks like an act. And I do believe part of it is an act. Not necessarily this, but I do think she knows that drama is views and views is money.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a really tricky one to navigate. It's a really difficult one.
Literally, like, for her, but not just her, like, all YouTubers, you can't, because we build up, like, a relationship with influencers. We're like, oh, we're their followers, we know them and stuff. But we don't know, like, them as people. So we don't know where the line is between, like, their actual personality and what they could be putting on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell. And, yeah, like, I agree. But it's just a lot.
So I'll move on to the final bit that I'm going to talk about. It's kind of, from their perspective, the aftermath. And then we can kind of talk about, you know, again, how she learned a lot. And, you know, there's a lot to discuss. But basically, he just goes through the situation. If my internet wants to work. Let me refresh this real quick.
Okay.
I was eating a cup.
Joe Biden.
Oh my god, I need to get ad block, I swear to God.
Obviously, Frenemies episode with Trisha. Yesterday we posted a Frenemies episode. You know, it was where we had a big blowout and Trisha walked and stormed out crying. And, you know, it sucks because, like, the episode before was great, and we were simply coming back to do a second episode because we didn't get to do the beauty products. And somehow it just totally melted down. And so, I honestly, I don't know. I mean, after she ran out, I immediately texted her and apologized. I said, I'm sorry that you're so upset. I don't know what to do when you get into, like, I don't know, is it disassociative phase or whatever, where she says she blacks out and then she, like, lashes out and stuff. So I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to react when you get in that way. And she said, and then she sent me, like, a few hours passed, and she sent me this really big, beautiful apology saying that, you know, she's sorry. She said stuff she doesn't mean. She loves us in the podcast, and she just is, you know, she goes into this thing and she loses control, yada, yada. And so we had a really nice conversation, and I said, you know, we're team. I said, look, all is forgiven. It's all water under the bridge for me. Like, I don't take anything you say in those kind of stages personally, because I know that you, like, don't have control over it or you regret it immediately. So I said, look, it's all water on the bridge. I'm team Trisha all the way. Like, you know, I'm in this. And she was like, thank you so much. And then you talked to her too, right?
So one thing that was also brought up was that, you know, the Ela actually probably should just message Trish to say, I don't hate you.
Yeah.
So that somehow a misunderstanding can be diffused.
Yeah, definitely.
The right word is my WhatsApp's bing bonging. Hang on, let me exit that. So she does.
Yeah, so Ethan called me and he was like, watch the episode. So I watched it, and I just felt like it definitely, like, blew so out of proportion it kind of felt like over nothing, because I was getting frustrated with a few different things, and I don't know. I just, at some point I told Ethan, like, it's so annoying to me when she says stuff like, oh, you guys are so unwelcoming and things like that, because I felt like it's so far from the truth. And she
said, and I just want to make this clear, this is the kind of things that she says that always cause problem. Even in that moment, she said, Moses doesn't even like you guys or his family, so who cares? And I was like, and I said, that's why Ela doesn't want you talking about her family or her.
But when you guys talked about it, she said, well, why didn't she just tell me directly? And so when she said that, I really agreed with that. I was like, yeah, I have her phone number. I should have just message.
I mean, I'm biased because I've watched these before, but I do think like there is a lot of accountability here that's being shown. Like she understands that she made a mistake, and Trisha's comment saying, why doesn't she just message me then? She takes it on the chin and she actually does do it, which I think is like very mature. I mean, at their age, they have a kid. Like, it's not deep. It's not like being at school and it's like a big drama.
Her directly instead of putting you in between. So after the podcast, after I watched it, I felt really bad about seeing her like that because I didn't take personally the stuff that she said. I know she doesn't mean it. Like when she was talking about our parenting, I know she doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
But so I messaged her and I was like, "You're right. I should have just talked to you directly." And she responded with a really long message and she apologized for everything. And I felt like pretty good after that apology. But I don't know. Then today she posted this video and I just kind of feel like I just can't take any word. Like I'm used to taking things as they are. If someone says something to me, then that's what they mean in my head. That's what I'm used to. But I feel like ever since this whole thing with Trisha and my brother being involved, it's just like I just can't handle. I can't handle.
So basically, she's talking about a video that Trisha uploaded. I've not watched it all. It's like 40 minutes long. It's like 50 minutes long. She's so renowned for dragging out drama. And basically, it's kind of like, it's a little bit apologetic, but it's also like pointing the fingers at them. And this is the bit that I wanted to talk about. Let me skip a bit. They just talk about, she's very honest in saying about the drama with the brother, and she talks about what it is about, basically what I told you about. You saying one thing to one person, one thing to another. We need to find out, what you actually... I hate this.
Sometimes I just need like maybe...
So she talks about as well, obviously needing a break from it, and that's all she wanted. She just wanted a bit of time to process. She said, she's not going to not admit that her and her brother have had a fight. She just needs time to process what's going on.
Yeah.
But they talk about her YouTube video, which is what I'm trying to get at, but it's like, where the hell is it? They do talk they also talk about from their perspective as people that work for them, that run the podcast, how it felt to be in the room, which was actually quite interesting.
Imagine.
Now, on the issue of... Dan, how was it for you? How was it for... People were wondering,
right.
What was it like for Dan and AB to watch that? Dan, I remember you said you felt like you should have left the room or something.
I considered it. I don't know.
You should definitely not have. That would have...
Really?
That would have been so odd if you left.
Well, it just seemed like it was getting deeply personal and wasn't really content anymore. Like it was a real thing that was happening between the two of you. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't.
Yeah, that would just been...
in my mind, I was like, should I slink out of here right now?
Well, AB, what was it like for you? Front row seat.
I mean, I was just happy Dan was there.
You were following his lead.
That's true.
By the way, just as a side note, he's Muslim. I didn't know. Yeah, he's Arabic, I think. So he's got Arabic on his arm and everything. I found out like one of the last episodes because Trish was like, I really want to interview a Muslim. I've never met a Muslim. So they were like, AB's Muslim. You could just talk to him.
It would have been extra.
Yeah.
I think he's got like a really Arabic name.
I was also consciously thinking about Moses. I'm like, I feel so bad. He's getting the pizza right now.
Good.
He's thinking he's going to show up and be the man, and then he's going to come home to this.
So let's find the comment that I'm trying to talk about. It's so unprofessional of me.
But it's
right.
I do think it's important that we upload it because, like, I think we fixed it.
Okay, they also talk about as well. Just a quick side note is they did actually talk to Trish about whether they should post the episode or not. They posted it unlisted. They asked her. She said the only condition is you don't cut anything. You post the whole thing. So they did.
And we resolved it. Obviously,
some people said they shouldn't have posted it, but it was.
Comments were pretty brutal to her.
Yeah.
That's another thing cleared up, which is good. I'm glad that they asked her.
Yeah.
Where is the here?
kind of rubbed me wrong, and
this is
counter to what we talked about on the phone. For example, she pinned a freaking comment that says, she pinned this comment. It says, people keep praising Ethan and Hila, but to be honest, they're just as toxic as David and his gang was.
So like David Dobrik and Holly's gang, she has big drama with them. She hates them, basically.
They poke Trisha in ways that they know will get a rise out of her and don't fully communicate with her. There's a lot of underlying passive aggressiveness and condescension in their interaction with Trisha, and nobody calls them out for it. So, I mean, I don't really know. First of all, I totally disagree with that comment.
Too.
And so when when she's actually feeling like that, I don't know how it makes me feel like I don't know how we can go on if that's how she feels. Well, especially when she messages me and apologizes and says it's all good, and then she makes a video saying that we're toxic. Now, I don't know anything about her relationship with David and that gang, but this insinuation that we're toxic to her, or that we don't communicate with her, or that we poke her trying to get her, it's just not true. I don't know what's your evidence of that. Like, I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't. I'd like to find.
So that's one thing that makes me think that a lot of it is an act, in a way, for Trish, because it's you know how they've said they've both apologized. It seems like the air has been cleared between them, and then she posts long videos, and she's posted another one now, which I won't play, but I will show you, because it's just like her going mad. I'll just play a few seconds.
Their big thing that they were so offended is that I pinned a comment on my video that I posted this morning. The comment was, and
she just goes mad, and she's just,
I don't like her talking about me. I deserve a break. But then in the same breath, talk about me. The whole H3 live right now is we're talking about the Trisha situation.
How can you not talk about it? Anyway, again, it's this. She has made it. I'm not going to say that they've not spoken about her. Without her wanting it to happen. I'm not going to say that they haven't in the past, but you have a working business relationship now, and she made the first video talking about it. And they're just replying about the situation, so their fans know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like she always goes on, your life's not private now. You're in the public eye. That's what annoys me about her. Is she's very one-sided. She'll be like, well, you're in the public eye, I can talk about you. And then they talk about her and she didn't like it. So, I don't know. So that's the drama. And it's just another one of, I'm sure, many dramas that will be happening on YouTube very shortly. So that's the first bit I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Is the whole idea, I think it just really highlights this idea of mental health. Is it affecting these dramas? Is it not? I just think Trisha, her history just does her no favours.
Absolutely not. There's so much going on with her that I don't even know about. Like when I heard her coming out as trans and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. Then I read up more about it, and I just my brain just can't.
To me, it sounds more like she's non-binary, or genderqueer, not trans. But it's not my place to say. I'm not her. But it just, from what she was saying and what the comments were saying, it did sound more like that than anything else. But hey. Who knows? But that's that. I just thought it was interesting because obviously it's that whole idea of, is it an act? I always think about that when I watch YouTube drama. Yeah.
I feel like that's a big question to ask for all YouTube dramas, but especially I think we're going to talk about it next. Yeah, the whole James and Tati thing.
Yeah.
Like a few months after it happened, people were starting to realize it wasn't an act, all of this, because the amount of money, the amount of views, the amount of, everyone was talking about it. So it just really makes you think about us as an audience and how much we should believe and what should we question and stuff. Yeah.
Now, I don't have any videos for this. I'm not going to go into it as depth as I just did. I think it was just interesting, because especially the mental health aspect, and also, raising a bit of awareness is quite interesting. So, obviously, what was it? I feel like it was actually quite a long time ago now. I think on here it says when it all started. I think it was 2018 it started. No, 2019, was it? Yeah. April 2019, which seems like forever ago now. I can't believe time has flown so fast. So basically, the whole drama started with Tati bringing out this video, and I can't remember what the title was, but it was really dramatic as well. I think everyone knows, we don't need to discuss it that much, I don't think. But the gist was she brought up many things that painted James Charles in a really bad light, and it had the support of Jeffree Star, it had the support of Shane Dawson, Trisha Paytas, anyone and everyone seemed to be against James Charles. And it all started with James Charles promoting Tati Westbrook's opponent when it comes to like hair and beauty vitamins. So it all started there, and then it just spiraled out of control. He just basically wanted a free ticket to Coachella or something. That's just what it is. I just think he's stupid, for obviously not realising how it would look. And then there was this idea of him doing, you know, sexual acts on or being sexually explicit at the dinner table, really embarrassing her to this guy and trying to sleep with this guy. And it was all very weird, like coercing men in sexual acts. It was all very strange. It just wasn't good. It just got worse and worse. And oh my God, that video was gold. I remember watching it and being like, wow.
Yeah.
She knew how to formulate that video.
Yes.
And she's got a very good speaking voice as well. So, you know, and then basically James Charles started to lose subscribers after that video. Do you know how many subscribers he lost?
I can't remember, but it was a lot, wasn't it?
2.6 million in, I think it was 2 or 3 days.
Damn.
Which is crazy. His numbers were just going down, down, down. So everyone was talking about it, which you could not talk about. It was just incredible. But now it seems that everything's changed again. So it was all, let's hate James Charles. And now it's, let's all hate Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star and all these people that were apparently like whispering in her ear. She did another video that nobody expected, coming out saying she spoke, I think it said she's spoken to James, apologised, she was really upset. She wants to, who's she doing her lawsuit with? I can't remember what the lawsuit's about. Let me put it in.
There's a lawsuit? What?
Oh yeah, there's a lawsuit. I can't remember who she's trying to. Tati Westbrook lawsuit. Oh, so she's in a lawsuit. They're being sued for fraud.
Wow.
According to the lawsuit, I don't know. Anyway, so there's a whole thing going on. There's a lawsuit going on, which I can't even remember what the video is about. It's so long ago now. And she basically gets Shane Dawson looking bad, saying that people were telling her bad things about James in her ear and making him out to be this baddie. So then Shane Dawson was doing a live video when it came out and he was reacting. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It was all kicking off. So this drama's just gone on and on and on and on over the past like a year and a half. And it's just like, wow, I wonder how much money they've all made.
Yeah.
Don't you ever think these things might be orchestrated?
That's the thing. Like when you said earlier, like when you first watched Tati's video, like it was gold. It was almost like a performance. It was so well constructed. It was so dramatic. Everyone was so shocked. Like there had to be some planning behind this whole takedown drama. It's very suspicious. Yeah.
But then it also seemed quite scary because it's like, in her second video, I'm sure the vibe she kind of gave off was like she's in hiding and like she's not speaking to anyone because she's scared and all this stuff. And it just seems weird. It's like, who's out to get her? Like, I don't know. It just seems really scary. I don't know how far this video goes to. I wonder if it... Oh yeah, Shane was freaking out.
Fucked! This is... Oh my God. Okay. I'm live because I can't even process. I need a drink of water. I fucking can't process this. This is insane.
So dramatic, isn't it?
So how is it that so many editorial outlets knew that something was coming before I...
Because you message drama channels! Oh my God.
So it was crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It is just crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. It just seems like James has kind of removed himself from this recent drama, which, you know, fair play to him. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like these things are really orchestrated, you know.
Definitely. And I feel, but at the same time, although I think some of it's definitely set up, I think it's interesting what comes out about these people. Because, like, in this drama, wasn't Shane, like, accused of, like, sexual, like, harassing people as well? And there was comments about Willow Smith when she was a minor.
Oh, yeah, there was. And even the Willow, like, the Smith family actually spoke about it. Jaden Smith tweeted something like, "Don't talk about my sister like this," or something.
Yeah.
Now, it's also interesting because he's on the down low at the minute. I ain't seen nothing about him at all. He's keeping quiet. Yes. Which means, does that mean he's coming up with something? Or I don't know. But it just seems interesting. And it doesn't seem like him and Jeffrey have done much together either recently.
No.
Which means, has Jeffrey decided that he's not good for PR anymore? Or I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, loads of things came out. You know, when is enough enough? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, more views equals more money. But like, it's like, to what extent? It's just interesting to what extent that these influencers go to, and YouTubers will go to get views. And I'm sure a lot of it could have been done in person, spoken to in person. 100%. And I think that's a lot of people's comments on these dramas as well. But it's interesting, like you said, like what becomes uncovered. I bet you so many YouTubers know about so much stuff that it's almost like so much drama can be caused if one person decides they want to cause trouble. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like celebrities, you know, in the same way, like their scandals, like you know, loads of people knew about, like, what's his name? The guy who was like sexually abusing all them women. Harvey Weinstein. Like,
yeah,
everyone knew about it, but no one did anything because obviously he was so powerful. It's just interesting what everybody knows about.
And I think that, like, kind of shows, like, the toxic side of, like, influencers and celebrity culture and fame, because, like, it almost becomes like this elitist society, like, different from the audience. So they're all separate, they have the power, and then they think they can use it to do horrible things, and then when something goes wrong in that society, then they leak it to, like, the mass public, like, as commoners. And yeah, it's just very toxic, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. And this whole idea as well that's interesting is, like, cancel culture. Like, you know, I feel like an interesting thing that I've thought about is, do people really get cancelled?
Yeah.
Everyone makes a big deal out of it, and it's like, oh, this person's now cancelled. But what about Logan Paul, who got cancelled after the suicide forest in Japan? But then now he's having a fight with Mayweather, who's a massive boxer. So he's still making. I hope he gets destroyed, but you know, Floyd Mayweather, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, something like that.
He's never lost a boxing match, so I'm pretty certain he's not going to pretend to lose or lose over Logan Paul. Do you know what I mean? So again, it's just money, isn't it? But it's just like, I have a different opinion, like two different sides to my cancel opinion. Like, on the one hand, I don't always think it's positive, and I don't think it leaves room for growth. But on the other hand, it's like, these people never really get cancelled.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're always still going to have a following. They're always going to have fans. So I don't know. I just think some people go too far with trying to cancel people. Like, people uncover things from, you know, 50 million years ago. and then be like, this is still you now. You're awful. You're horrible. I hope you die. I hope you and your kids die. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? When people go that far, you're like, okay, this is really not educating them. It's just going to make them like push against it more. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like on the internet, there's always opportunity, and there's always a group of people that will take things too far.
Oh, 100%.
Sending death threats, like fans being like overly possessive, like, people taking cancel culture too far. So yeah, in that case, I don't think cancel culture is a good thing. But when it comes to my actual opinion of it, I never thought about that point. Like, do people really get cancelled? Because you see, like, people trended on Twitter, but give it a year or 2 years, they'll be back out with their YouTube videos. So yeah, that's really interesting.
And again, like Jeffree Star, he has had loads of things happen to him that he's been cancelled for. You know, for being a racist, for doing this, for doing that. He recently got found out for making a makeup line that was like, wasn't it like kind of Nazi linked or something? It looked, or something stupid, or KKK linked or something, like the name of it.
Yeah,
something like that. And you know what? Do you know what his net worth is?
What?
$200 million. He's not fucking cancelled. He's got the bag. Have you seen his new mansion?
Literally.
He's not cancelled. You might want to think he's cancelled, but honey, he ain't cancelled. People are still buying his products.
It is crazy. And it makes me feel like, what is the definition of cancelled? Because obviously, like we just said, like no one's career is going to end from it. But in a way, I do think we need cancel culture. So like, not like in the crazy, like people being horrible, sending death threats away. And obviously we don't want to try and, you know, end someone's life or in their career, make sure they never get paid again. But I feel like it gives like influencers a sense of accountability.
Humble them as well.
Literally, because their biggest like thing online is like their reputation, like their audience. If everyone's, you know, hating on them or whatever, not hating, but like holding them accountable, saying, look at this is not right, you can't just get away with it. It does make them want to like say something and apologize and address it, not just carry on and pretend it didn't happen. So I think that's important, to hold people accountable. Yeah.
I think as well, like, I think not necessarily cancel culture as in cancelling someone as well, but I think it's important when someone makes a mistake that, you know, the internet is so amazing now that someone can be like, you know what, you probably shouldn't have cornrows, and this is the reason why. And now you can actually find something, you know, like we spoke about in the Black Lives Matter episode, like, you know, at school I wasn't taught a lot of stuff, and, you know, it's actually been for me to have to find these things out. And, you know, if you make a mistake and someone goes, or you go, oh, I don't really know why that's a big deal, and someone just sends you a link and goes, just read this thread. It's so good that, like, it's so accessible to find out, like, why things are bad and what we can do to help and stuff like that, you know, which I think is a good part of it. But there's always, I feel like cancel culture is always overshadowed by, like, I'm going to come and find you and kill you, and you're like, oh, that's really helpful. And it's also overpopulated by K-pop fan cams, isn't it?
We
it's
can't,
like thingy is over and it's just all K-pop fan cams. And you're like, okay.
This is the thing, right, with the K-pop fan cams. So like people find them annoying, but like, and I get why, because you're trying to find out what the drama is, and all you see is like people dancing. It's like, right, okay. But at the same time, wasn't there like a hashtag like White Lives Matter, and that was just filled with K-pop? Like,
yeah, there's two. It's all, I don't know what the saying is, but it's like a double-ended sword. It's like there's a good and a bad, isn't there?
Yeah.
I remember there was an article was written like the K-pop stans have helped Black Lives Matter, which is great. But I just mean, like, you know, it's just a part of cancel culture, which is, I think, people annoys people and then makes them hate certain groups more. But yeah, I don't know. No one ever really gets cancelled, do they?
No.
Name one person on YouTube that really has been cancelled, and do you know what I mean? I'll be like, okay. I think there's a yin and a yang to cancel culture.
There is.
It's a bit like, have you seen all the stuff with Shia LaBeouf at the minute?
No, I mean, I know he's in some kind of drama.
I read briefly about it. He's in a drama with his ex. Is her name Twix or Twigs or I don't know.
Idea. Yeah.
So I think she's a model or something. You'd recognise her, and she's come out and said like sexual battery. I don't know if that means like actual beating or it's a like a legal phrase. assault, mental and physical abuse, blah blah blah, all this stuff. She's come out about it. So I guess like cancel culture in a way would be like, it's almost like for certain people and things, it's like a respect to the victim. So it's like, don't go and support Shia LaBeouf's new project or whatever it is, you know. People have to learn that you have to be humbled and learn from your mistakes. You can't just make, you know, being a celebrity is an honor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people can take that honor away and you can be a normal human being. If you can't be a nice, respectful human being, then you're not going to be famous. That's what I think about cancel culture, which is nice. We'll humble you by making you a normal person again. And you won't be popular and no one gives a shit about who you are because you're just a normal, regular person. You know? So
100%.
I think that's a good thing about cancel culture. It's like, you know what? You want to be horrible, you want to be nasty, we'll join the rest of us. Because you should not no longer have a platform. No. I'm sure people can grow and learn 100%.
Yeah.
But it's all right to be humbled. So.
Definitely. I 100% agree with what you just said there. I think it's also like giving people consequences for their actions, because when you're a celebrity, it's very easy to just move on from mistakes and be pardoned and carry on living your great life. But when you get cancelled, even though it doesn't really do anything in the long run, like you said, it humbles you and makes you realise your privilege as a celebrity. So.
Yeah, and that's what happened, obviously. I'm not to go into deep, but like recently with the Queen Englishman, Josh and Gabby, they broke a lockdown. Well, I don't know how much they broke it, but they apparently broke the South Korean lockdown rules because they were isolating for 14 days while they visited South Korea. You know, again, fans aren't happy and they take it really seriously, the virus in South Korea as well. So, you know, they've obviously been humbled by this experience. So hopefully they learn and they grow from it. But yeah, that is my thoughts on that.
I mean, we spoke about a lot, and I've just got one more thing to pull up. I know this episode is going to be like literally so long now, but that made me think about apology videos as well.
Oh, so, yeah.
All the apology videos that come out of these dramas, like if you take Josh and Gabby's or like James Charles and stuff, it makes you think what's genuine, what's not as well, like from cancel.
Oh yeah, again, this whole idea of like, have they been planned out? Have they been written out? And do you know what I mean? Has their PR team been like, you have to say this, you can't say this?
Exactly. And it's like if people get cancelled, they'll put out the apology video and it's like, are you just saying that so you don't get cancelled anymore so you can carry on, or are you genuinely sorry? So I feel like that puts responsibility in us as the audience to be more careful about who we support, who we give a platform, and what we should believe, what they give us. Yeah.
I see loads of YouTubers reacting to apology videos as well, and it's like they look like fake tears and this and that, and it's like, it must be really hard in a way, you know. I always think when I watch some of them, I'm like, if I actually got into a drama and I wanted to genuinely apologize, I just wonder what I would do, because you don't want to do something wrong and then someone's like, that's so fake.
Yes, yeah, because it's like when people like on Twitter apologize and they use the Notes app, and people say, "Oh, they've used the Notes app," but then I'm thinking, but like, how else? If you want to do a written apology, like, do you know what I mean? Like, people, yeah, I feel like us as the audience are so quick to
judge, yeah,
sticky,
yeah, that is a real sticky one. Just don't get in drama. That's what I say. Just don't get in drama.
Yeah.
Because it's too much. It's too long. But yeah, that's basically what I brought to the table today for you all. I don't know if that was any good or not. I just thought it was an interesting concept, because you see drama pop up all the time, and small or big. You know, there was a drama with Jake Paul had a big party recently, and he doesn't believe COVID's real either. I don't want to get into that drama. My brain will just die. But yeah, so that's what I think. There's loads of things involved in influencers. Their life is very hard, very hard. I just feel like it'd be too much drama for me. I don't like actually getting in fights or anything. I don't like it, so it wouldn't be for me. It would not be for me.
Yeah. Me neither. Yeah, I agree. It's just not the one.
No, it's not. Anyway, that's it on that topic. And I'll hand it to you for the last part of our episode, which we always do, where we're going to talk about a topic or something that interests us that we want to share, talk about. So take it away.
Okay, so today we thought we would talk about something that's happened recently, and I really didn't know much about it until yesterday. Lucy sent me some stuff, and it was also all over Twitter. And basically, there is a man named Brandon Bernard who unfortunately was put to death on the death sentence. I think it was on the 10th of December, so a couple of days ago. And yeah, apparently it's a very long story, but he's been in prison for 21 years, and he was sentenced to death for a crime committed in 1999 when he was 18 years old. But apparently, I'm reading on Twitter and like different places, he was just an accomplice. He didn't have a leading role in the crime. And now, apparently 5 of the 9 surviving jurors no longer believe that a death sentence is necessary. So like there's so much going on, and apparently it's way too high. And unfortunately it happened, and he's no longer with us. So it's really, really sad. But yeah, it just lots of people are talking about the justice system. So, you know, in America a few years ago, there was a shooting of like 9 black people in a church by a white guy, and his sentence was not as like nowhere near as big. He wasn't on death sentence. I think he might still be in prison, or I'm not sure, but it's just like the injustice of how different people are treated. So unfortunately we lost this guy. Yeah, and loads of people before it happened were petitioning, like calling like the government, trying to stop it, but it happened. So the one thing that I wanted to point out in this podcast of what we can do to help is there is a project called the Marshall Project, and basically it helps other people who are like sentenced to death but are not guilty, or there's like, you know, it's very complicated cases, so you can read more about that and support them before another case like this happens, basically. But yeah, it's a really sad thing to read.
Again, it's like linked to that idea of like cancel culture, you know. I mean, I want to do an episode about the death sentence next year, which I'll talk more about it, but the whole idea of like, you know, depending on what it is and the situation, I know it's really complicated, but you know, if someone does something, you know, it's like he's an accomplice, he doesn't actually have full lead in the crime and gets sentenced to death, they're not giving that person a chance to go to prison and learn. That's what, you know, that's what it's meant to be about. It's meant to be about going and reforming yourself, thinking about what you've done, and, you know, wanting to go out there and be a better person. So I feel like that's really sad. I watched a brief video about him, and this idea that, you know, he's spent so long there and he's changed, and, you know, he's just not been given another chance to be better, which is really sad, isn't it? You'd hope that if you made a mistake, again, I'm not just saying this because he is black or was black, but, you know, the whole idea about our circumstances, you would hope that, you know, if you were in a bad circumstance and the only life that seemed to be was crime, that someone would help you get out of that life, and if you did make a mistake, that you had a second chance. So yeah, we'll do some posts on that as well on our social media, like we always do. So if you want to follow us there, it is at wakeup_podcast. We'll post more, and if you're listening or watching on YouTube, we'll put them in the description. If not, and you're listening elsewhere, head over to our social media to find out more information. So yeah, that's today's episode.
It is.
That's the end. Episode 13.
13. We did it. We've got like 13 episodes, you know, that's a lot.
I know, we've done quite well, haven't we?
Yeah. I hope people are enjoying it and having as much fun as we are.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much, everyone, again for joining us, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.